Well, at Ground Zero in Dantewada, there are more details now unfolding about how the Naxals escaped after they boxed in and butchered the CRPF jawans.
Sudhiranjan Sen found out that the Naxals actually carried off a little girl who saw them and could have identified them, only to abandon her later in the forests.
We are at the banks of Sabri River, 30 kilometers from the spot in Chintalan forest, where Maoists killed 76 jawans on the morning of April the 6th. That very afternoon, a few villagers walking through the forest saw a big group of Maoists at the river bank. Here they left behind a vital clue, a 10-year-old girl from a nearby village who had seen them retreating after the ambush. They couldn't leave her behind, worried that she may lead the police to them. So they carried her here and left her. This is where the Maoists were spotted last. So where did they go? The river perhaps holds the answer.
This is the Sabri River. It virtually divides Odisha and Chhattisgarh. In fact, half a kilometer away from here starts Malkangiri, which is completely dominated by the Maoists. In the days to come, as operations intensify, Malkangiri is going to increasingly come under focus.
Intelligence agencies say the Maoist attackers split three ways, about 100 of them in each group. One group entered the Palamchalama forest in Andhra. The second group got into the dense forest of Dronapal in Chhattisgarh. The remaining crossed over to Malkangiri in Orissa. We are now in Orissa, where in the last 2 years, nearly 300 jawans have lost their lives in anti-Naxal operations. The language and script has changed, but the terrain and the problems remain the same. This village is called 91, known by a number, not a name. That's because this is one of the few refugee resettlement colonies for those who had crossed over from Bangladesh during the 1965 Indo-Pak War, and then again during the 1971 Bangladesh Liberation War. Decades have passed, but they still live like refugees. In this widespread poverty and underdevelopment, the Maoists find their toehold. A few kilometers away in Madanguda, we find an explanation for the Maoist control. Mahesh does not go to school. Instead, he works in a brick kiln. Caught between acute poverty, state apathy, the Maoists have become the unofficial administrators.
बिजली तो एकदम नहीं है, वो मिट्टी तेल भी वो भी ठीक से नहीं मिल रहा है।
मिट्टी तो कैसे काम चलाते हो आप लोग?
ऐसे महीने को 4 लीटर मिलता है, उससे कम चला लेते हैं।
कुछ करके काम चला लेते हैं। Whether in Malkangiri here in Odisha or adjoining Dantewada in Chhattisgarh, this is the kind of terrain that one needs to dominate between hills, plains and villages thrown far apart. Not only boots on the ground, but trust of the locals and their support is perhaps going to be key. But the big question is, has the government been able to get that trust in all these years? From Malkangiri, with camera person Xavier Thomas, Sudhiranjan Sen for NDTV.
Tuba.com